So, Darna, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So, I think we're going to have a really good, honest, in depth conversation here. I've got
Yeah.
Darna, my beautiful wife to be here. We're going to have a bit of a chat. And we're just going to be chatting about
Mhm.
her running journey and what running has meant to her, and about how everything has changed when she got an injury. And over the past few years, I think she's not only had to deal with the physical side of not being able to run, but also the emotional side. And I think it's a journey that many injured runners will relate to. And I'm really looking forward to this. I think I'll learn a lot. I think Dana will learn a lot. And I think other people can learn a lot.
Yeah.
So, Dana, how did you get into running and when was it?
It was in 2013. I started going to the gym pretty much full time in like 2010. And I really enjoyed going to the gym. It was good for my mental health and physical health. But when my mum had dementia, and then once she passed away in 2013, I was really struggling to go to the gym. I didn't really want to be around people. So I was going to Anytime Fitness at the entrance. So instead of going there, I would just go for a little jog on the lakefront at Long Jetty. And yeah, it just became like an everyday thing. It was really good for me during that time, I think, just being in nature. And I always wanted to run, but I struggled to sort of pick it up. Like I could run on the treadmill really well, but I found it hard outside. But I just sort of found I just started going really slow, nice little jogs. And then it sort of became a thing where I was like, I think I want to sign up and do like a fun run. And then it sort of went from there.
Hmm. Why did you find it hard to run outside?
I just think once you get used to running on a treadmill, and I think when you're on a treadmill too, it was more about like I'd run fast, I'd do like intervals, I could do a lot of sprinting, and I got used to that. So I'd go out onto the road or just out in nature or whatever, and I'd try to run the same way. But I think when I just sort of went out there and thought, I'll just go as slow as I can, and then I just sort of slowly picked it up from there.
What attracted you to running?
I think just the freedom of it, just the being able to just put on a pair of shoes and just go. You don't have to rely on going to the gym. You don't have to be around a lot of people. I find that sometimes when I exercise, I kind of want quiet time. And running, I've always been quite an introverted person in a way. I like my alone time. So I found that running was a perfect blend of getting my exercise and being active, but just having that time for myself.
Hmm. And what did running become for you over the years?
It became I think it started out obviously it was like a medicine in a way, like
Yeah.
dealing with the loss of my mum. And then I'd sort of always struggled with like anxiety and depression over the years. So it became like an anecdote to that. Like it just made me feel really good. And I'd use it in a way of like, if I was struggling and I felt anxious, I could just go for a run and I always felt better. It just became something really positive in my life that I could do for my mental health and my physical health.
I think some people will relate to that.
Yeah.
Many can, I think. Yeah. And what sort of runner were you?
Just it sort of started out just as like a very recreational thing. I didn't think too much about it. And when
Hmm.
I just started with a 10K fun run at the Central Coast Half Marathon, I think it is. So I
And do you
just
know
did the
what year that
10K.
was? When was
That
that? Do
was
you know
in
what?
probably 2014. Oh, no, 2013 I did that. That was my
Mm-hmm.
first one after I started running sort of in July. And then after that, I did the half marathon in Canberra. And I did that with a charity, Alzheimer's Australia. So I raised money for that charity in sort of honor of my mum. So I sort of use running as like a really positive thing that I could do to sort of heal from the grief of losing my mum and yet turn it into a positive thing. So it really, really helped me with that.
And what were some of your favorite events that you've run? Do
The
you have any?
2 I have many. I love trail running more than road running, just the feeling and I guess the community sort of vibe of it. It's very encouraging and I just love being in nature rather than being like on road runs or road events that are bigger and it just feels bit more competitive. So
Mm.
I'd have to say probably though the 2 that I remember the most of how I felt when I'd finished it and while I was doing it was the 12-hour track run I did. I can't remember what it was called. It was a
Stephen
12-hour.
Redfern's one.
What was that?
Stephen Redfern's
Yeah,
run
yeah, the
at the track.
12-hour track run, and then also the Shoalhaven Summit. I think it was a 60K, and then it got changed to 72Ks. But those 2 events, I think about them all the time, how good I
Mm.
felt, and the whole experience of those 2 runs was amazing.
So two totally different runs. So one's on a track running around in
Yeah,
circles for 12 hours. The other's on all different sorts of trails for 70 odd
yeah.
kilometers. How did you find the difference between those two? Because that's what you, two favorite runs and they're totally different.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not into running on a track normally. I don't really go and do track events, and I haven't done like I started doing some like the track sessions with Mel's group on a Wednesday night, I think it was. I was doing a bit of that to help with my speed work, but I've never really enjoyed it. I'd rather just go for a run out on a
Mm,
trail somewhere. But I feel like the track run, I think it's like the mental challenge. I think that's what running to me was more about than actually worrying about my performance or anything. It was more about what am I capable of? It's like it's a mental game. It's obviously a physical
yeah.
challenge. But to me, it was always more about overcoming the mental sort of blocks or how far can I really overcome myself physically and mentally. So I think in a way they're very similar, the 2 events, even though they're completely different. It was about that, like, how far can I push this? How far can I physically go? But it gets to that point in a race where it's more of a mental game that you're playing.
Yeah. I think you're 100% there. If you
Yeah.
could go back to one run, would it be one of those or would it be a training run that you've done? Could you think of a
Um,
one run that you would?
I would probably go back to the Australian Outback Run because that was
Mm,
probably where I really like fell in love with that challenge and that accomplishment of I don't think I can do this. I don't like that was my first marathon, which was in an amazing place, very spiritual, beautiful, amazing place to do a run in itself. But the fact of like getting to that sort of 32, 34 kilometer mark when I'd never sort of done that event before and being like, I can't do this. Like, I'm so exhausted. Everything hurts. I'm spent. But then somehow something kicks in and you're like, I need to finish this. And then that feeling when you cross the finish line of like, I can't believe I did that. You know, I literally thought there was nothing left in me and I was just gone. But then something and it's something inside of you that kicks in and goes, "Oh, imagine how I'll feel if I finish this," and then you finish it and it's amazing. And I
yeah, I
think that
think
was my first taste of that real feeling doing that run. So I'd love to go back to appreciate it even more.
I think we always remember our first marathon. That's an
Yeah.
iconic one
Yeah.
at Uluru there. What made you pick that one? And what year was that? First marathon?
That I think that was 2019. I could be wrong. I think it was around that time. It was when I was running with Gary Pickering and he helped do the planning for that with Traveling Fit.
Mhm.
And then I just sort of heard about that and I thought, oh my God, that would be an amazing event. But I actually was a bit injured sort of going into that. So I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do it. I just sort of went there thinking, "Oh, look, I've paid for it, but I'll just go and just see how I go. I mightn't even run the event." But obviously when I was there, I was like, I have to run this. Like, I can't have come all this way and trained for it and spent all the money to then not do it. I would have been more disappointed if I didn't do it. So
Mm.
I hadn't really heard much about that before. It was just more from that. And then, yeah, through the traveling fit company, going with them, and they organized everything. So it was actually like not just the running event, but it's like you have the dinner the night before, then you have the running event, and then you have the celebration dinner and all that. So it's like a whole event. So it was like even more special, I think, for a
Mm.
first.
Do you remember what your time was for your first one?
It was probably 3 hours, 50 minutes, something like that, because it was all on
Oh,
sand. So it
really?
was it was hard and it was hot, even though it was in winter. I think it was July. It was really, really hot in the end. And yeah, it was like running on a beach the whole time, just about. It was so hard, but awesome.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah,
Yeah.
how big a part of your identity was running?
So that is a huge question because it actually became my whole identity in a big way. I think because I fell in love with it so much and it was literally all I thought about and all I did pretty much in my spare time was revolved around my runs and running events. And anytime I'd go away, it was for running events. I love it so much that it actually did become, I would say it is literally my identity. I
Mm.
identify as a runner.
Again, I think that's another thing a lot of runners will relate to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a
quite a lot.
big way.
Yeah. Do you think it helped you more mentally as well as physically? Both or
It
one or the other?
it became everything. I think that was sort of one of the it's like it starts out as a positive and in terms of it becoming your identity, but it starts out you using it in a positive way. Like I used it a lot for my mental health. Anytime like I was having any struggles in life or I wasn't feeling very good mentally or emotionally, I'd go for a run. So it helped me so much, like obviously with having depression and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people that have those issues get into running because of it. And it's a
Mm,
healthy thing, instead of, drinking or, some people using drugs or doing things that are unhealthy and damaging. It starts out as this is a really healthy thing that I'm doing and I love it. I feel fantastic when I do it. So it was literally like my solution for everything in
mm,
life. So that's
mm,
why it became so important to me.
yeah. Again, that's a typical runner, isn't it?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's with your week, what did a training session look like? Did you have a structure?
Not so much in a structure. I've never really been big into, I never really had a Garmin watch sort of until 2023, I think it was.
Didn't
I
have a
think
watch.
I just had an old
Love
one
it.
that would just tell me it would tell me my pace, but I didn't take any
Yep.
notice of it. It would just tell me how far and how long, like, and the time or whatever. I never was big into the data or anything like that, so I didn't train like that. I just trained with I'd just go out and go for a run on any given day, how I felt. I'm gonna run
Mhm.
this far because I feel good today. Oh, I'm a bit tired. I'll just do a shorter one. But pretty much at least like 5 days a week. I would just go for a run. I'd pick a place. Sometimes I'd go to Budai, sometimes we at Crackneck, sometimes I'd run to Terrigal. It just depended on what I felt like, or I've just never been one that's like really strict with a certain plan. I find
Mm,
that I'm better if I just go and just run. Like I might have a plan. I'm going to run on the road today and do this, and then I wake up and be like, "Oh, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to go to Budai. I'm in the mood to
mm.
do that, so I just do that."
Yeah, and would you, have a minimum kilometres that you would run? So people don't
Uh,
get out of bed for less than
I
$10,000, would you?
I wouldn't go for a run for less than for 10 kilometers was a waste of time, which
Mm,
now I know is very wrong. And I've learnt this, but I literally had that in my head. Anything less than 10 kilometers was a waste of my time,
mm,
which now I would give anything to just run 2 kilometers. But I
mm,
would say if you went for a 5 kilometer run, for the effort of putting on your shoes and getting dressed and going out, that's just like a waste of time.
mm. What was the longest sort of distance you were running, just in a training run?
Probably like on a long run, I'd probably do up to 30 Ks on a day off once or twice a week. Most days I would run sort of 15 Ks.
Mm.
In most days, 12 to 15 Ks was a normal run, but then a long run, depending if you made an effort to go out on a trail, like we'd go on a run somewhere, you could do like a 40K run on a trail or do one of the trotters runs on the Sunday, like what was that one we did?
That was
And it was King
near Mangrove
Tumber.
Mountain. Near Mangrove
Yeah,
Mountain there.
yeah, we did that one. That was like the
Dubbo
fifth.
Gully.
Yeah, Dubbo Gully, and then that other one we did like not around the bay, but something like that.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, it depended. If you do an event or like an actual planned run, it could be longer. But usually I wouldn't go over 30 Ks like on my own.
If you could look back now, what did running give you that you perhaps didn't realize at the time?
Confidence and belief in myself of like what I'm capable of and that I'm strong. Yeah, I'm strong, capable, and that confidence in your ability.
So, going into the injury, can you tell us what happened?
It pretty much became a case of, I think, just too much, just running all the time, not having much recovery. I started having issues with my left quad and my hip and my left leg. It would sort of not hurt straight away, but sort of a couple of Ks into a run, it would start really aching and I'd have this pain going up my leg. So obviously I went to doctors and physios and all the rest of it. And we thought it was like a glute tendinopathy hip situation because that's sort of where the pain started. So I did a lot of rehab and tried different treatments, PRP injections, I think they are, and all that sort of thing to try to make that better. Time went past and nothing sort of got better. And then I sort of had that realization that during quite a few trail runs, I've rolled my left ankle quite badly, at least 3 times, really badly, and sort of recovered quite quickly from them and just carried on running, never had any issues. So anyway, long story short, went back to the doctor to get an MRI and realized like my ankle, there's perineal tendinopathy and inflammation and instability in my ankle. So that's pretty much the problem. It's like my ankle from the trauma that it's had over the years with the spraining my ankle and not really doing anything to address the issue. I just kept running because I love it so much and nothing was going to stop me running.
Mm.
Now it's gotten to a point where it's a kind of like a chronic issue.
How long's it been going on for?
Since it started in probably 2023 was probably when it really started coming on. So it's
Mm.
been 3 years that I've been dealing with this problem.
Mm. So it's gradually, it didn't happen suddenly. It's more happened in a
No.
gradual way.
I graduated. There were little signs, like I
Mm.
said, with the quad, having some issue, like really tightness in that leg and thinking, oh, that doesn't feel good. But just as I'd kind of run, then it would go away. So it's the, oh, it's tightness, whatever. And you're used to having sort of little niggles. But then over time, it just got stronger and stronger to the point where it was, yeah, I'd even start, even just 1K into a run, this pain just goes up my leg and just sets off a whole chain of events up my leg. So
Mm.
it's been frustrating, to say the least.
Mm. When you first realized, oh, I got a problem, did you think it was small or something much bigger when you first had it?
I thought it was something small, I think, but then there was this nagging feeling in the back of my mind, worried that something serious is going on here. But I think I was attached to running and it was such a part of my identity that I kind of ignored it. I didn't want to admit there was a problem. And I've had little things come up before and then I've just sort of let it be and then they just go away on their own. So I was kind of hoping that that would happen. And I think that's what a lot of runners do because I don't want to stop. Like I'm actually kind of addicted to running in a way.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Just gradually got worse.
Yeah. Over
Yeah.
time, then I just kept running on it. And then I would try and have some time off and then I'd try to run on it again. And it was kind of like this back and forth thing of trying to like still be that same person, still do the things that I could do. But then my body was literally screaming out saying like, I can't do this anymore. Like and I was burnt out. There was a big part of that 2023 year. I did a lot of big events. That's when I did the 12-hour one, the Shoalhaven Summit. I did other many UTA, big events all the time without any real structure to it. And I got very sick that year. I had, colds and flus. I was getting cold sores. I was so run down. And I'd still go for a run. I'd still, I remember knowing this is ridiculous, but running up Crackneck and I'm coughing, like I'm struggling to breathe, but it was like being on this hamster wheel and I couldn't stop. I couldn't allow myself to rest. I thought
Yeah.
resting was being lazy and, I'm going to lose my fitness or,
Mhm.
you're so used to that, like pushing yourself all the time that it becomes part of your mindset all the time of like
Mm.
pushing and like I've got to withstand suffering because that makes you stronger. But
Mm.
then obviously your body can only do that so long before it just goes, I can't do this anymore.
Don't want to show weakness.
Yeah.
Don't want to slow down because that's
Yeah.
weak. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This has
And
been the whole big lesson to me.
how difficult has the last 3 years been then?
Really hard. Like, I knew I'd cry. Like, it's like a big part of me, isn't there? And the struggle of trying to be positive, and I have moments where I'm like, it's fine, like, I'll get back there. And I feel it, I feel that gap with other things, but the silly things every time I have a, a chance to make a wish, I blow a birthday candle out or whatever. It's what I wish for the most. It's just the one thing that I like truly genuinely love. Like it's just I miss being part of the community. I miss feeling like it's like that world doesn't exist to me and it was like my everything. So to go from that, it's not like I'm a Olympic athlete or a professional athlete or anything like that, but it was the joy and you become known as that person. I became known as Darna who runs. And that's what I talk about with people and I loved it. And then to go from that to like my body just won't do it. I can't do the one because my leg just won't do what it needs to do, and I don't know how. Sometimes I've come to terms with it, sometimes I haven't.
Mm. Yeah, it's very, it gets very emotional, doesn't it?
Oh, it's you know, it, and I don't like to be negative because I can still go for walks. I can still exercise and ride
Mm.
my bike and all these things, but like I have to be honest sometimes and say, and it's just frustrating. Like that's not what I want to do. I want to go for a run. I wanted to put my shoes on and just go for a run. And I see people running and I'm angry at them. I get angry at them and then I feel guilty because that's not fair. And everyone gets injured. It's not the end of the world. But it's like I say, it's like taking someone's passion away and they're just left with this empty, like, who am I? Who am I without this? And it's only running. It's moving your feet quick. It's silly, but it's what you get from it. And now I've had to
Mm.
learn a whole new way of like dealing with life without
Mm.
having that thing that gives me so much happiness.
Mm. And the many times you went through denial, frustration, anger, the 5 stages of grieving as well,
Yeah.
went through that bit of a roller coaster?
So like you be the one here that's listened to it constantly. 1 minute I feel really positive and I've got a new plan and like, or I've seen a doctor and a physio and I've gotten an answer and I'm all like, yeah, it's going to get better. Like I can do this. And I hate this rehab exercises. I don't like going to the gym. It's just not my thing anymore. I just want to run. So going there, I try to be positive. But then obviously I get impatient and frustrated and then I just get angry and sometimes I just think, stuff it, and I try to just go for a run. I think if I just start out slow or if I do some walk runs and then that
Mm.
feeling comes back and it's kind of like it's demoralizing or something. As soon as I feel that pain, my emotions get caught up in it and I feel so upset and so frustrated. It's like my body isn't mine and I don't know how to overcome it in a lot of
Mm.
ways. And then sometimes I think, oh, I just give up. I'm not going to run anymore. Like, whatever. That's just who I am now. But really, honestly, deep down, like I said, I wish for it all the time that I could just go for a run. Like I said, a 2 kilometer run without pain would be amazing when I even think that was a waste of time. So
Mm.
it's all there and there's no system to it. There's not like, oh, I've gone through different stages. I still like this. I still have moments I just cry. I'm just, and then other days I feel really okay about it. Like it's not the end of the world and I will get back. And then other times I think, no, and I'm never running again. Like, that's me done, you know? I still don't know where I'm at with it.
Mm, mm. What's been the hardest part, have you found, of not being able to run?
It's the loss of identity, I think, of the having something that you're proud of and having a chance to challenge yourself and feeling like you're in charge of your body. You can make your body do things. You have this, always felt like I had this like amazing relationship with my body of like mental and physical challenges and I can overcome them. And then an injury comes into it. And I'm like, I feel separate from my body. So I think that and feeling angry at my body and trying to accept it. So I think that acceptance, the loss of identity and learning acceptance has been huge.
Mm. Do you think your friends and family understood what you're going through, besides me?
Yes and no, not so much my family because they're not runners. And I don't really talk about it with people that aren't runners or don't understand because they don't get it. I understand. I'm like, cool, just don't run. Like, who wants to run? Just go for a walk. Like, you're fine. I think talking to you as being, if I didn't have you, it'd be a completely different thing because you understand and you just listen without a solution sometimes. I don't want someone to say, oh, do this or come on, I don't want to be positive right now. I'm upset. You know, it's like anything. If you're upset about something, I just want to be heard. You know, so I think with you and even people, obviously other runners have been understanding and it's more people that come into work. But even then it's hard because then they still talk about running and part of me wants to just not talk about it. Or I don't want to talk about it with everyone. Like, how's the running go? You know, it's sort of that thing. How's the running go? I'm like, not going. But I just
Mm.
don't want to because then everyone gives you solutions and advice, which is well meaning and good, or they'd tell you to like, come and do this instead, or let's do this class at the gym. And I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I don't. And it's hard because people are well meaning, but I get annoyed and then I feel guilty about being annoyed. So I'd say probably you're like the main person that's been there.
All right.
But then I've had friends saying, you know, it's not bloody fair because you're the runner. Like, you are, and you love it. And I've got quite good at it, you know? So
Mm,
people are understanding, but yeah, I only talk about it really, I think mainly with you, really in
mm,
depth
mm.
to get it
Yeah. No, it's very, very hard. Yeah, injuries can, yeah, just really make you see the world in a different way, I think. Yeah.
big
Has
time.
has this experience changed the way that you see running?
It has in terms of how I guess I used to approach it. I think in a way, and we've talked about this before, that sometimes it becomes unhealthy. So when I was in and I was running all the time and it was just something I was just doing and I was proud of it, I had no problems with it, you know, and I'd run all the time. It's not until you get an injury that I sort of look back at my patterns and I've sort of seen that it became a bit negative. So I was using it too much as a crutch in life, and a lot of my body image was tied up with that. It became like a, well, if I want to eat this dinner tonight, this, I don't know, some like a schnitty with chips and have a couple of beers. Well, then this morning I must run 20 Ks minimum. Or if I've had that dinner the night before, the next morning I need to wake up early and get a big run in. We started when Kyla was only little. So he was like a toddler. So I'd have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go for a run to fit that in before he's up ready to go. And then it became this punishment reward system that I created for myself. And then I think because you get a real pleasure, and I think a lot of runners and a lot of female runners will understand that I felt good when I lost weight. Like, I was never big to begin with, but I got down to the size 8, size 6. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm eating whatever I want. I can eat. I still ate healthy, but I didn't have to worry, "Oh, I'll have this little cake or I'll have this meal and whatever." But it kind of, the running would burn it off. It was like a kind of, not like an eating disorder, but in that kind of realm of that. Like, I need to earn the right to eat or earn the right to rest or have a lazier day if I get in a long run. So running, as I've stepped out of it, I realized it was becoming a bit negative and a bit obsessive. And there was, even though I still loved it and I did it because I loved it, there were other things attached to it that I maybe needed to deal with. I think I was using it in the wrong way. So it's changed that for me, that running, it can be it's a really positive thing, but it can also be obsessive and a little bit dangerous. Takes
Yeah.
you down the sort of path, which I think I was sort of in that realm.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I find hard to admit, but it literally was. And that the hardest thing, I think being injured is putting on weight. It's being and accepting myself for that and not feeling ashamed of it. Ashamed of people gonna see me go, "Whoa, she's really let herself go," or, "What happened to her?" That's because it becomes your identity, and then I'm just normal now. Like, I've come to terms with that, to go from an extreme type of fitness where you literally have no body fat to cut to being, like, feeling chubby or feeling and it's silly, but that's the mindset you've had. I feel like I look lazy because I'm not this ultra fit person anymore because my body won't allow me to do that. So that's been like the hardest thing I think to deal with. And that's the body image. That's the work I've had to do and living with that, like accepting myself.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit deep.
Yeah. Do you think runners often take what they got for granted?
Oh, yeah, I did. If you always think that if I go back, I was just like, it's like you're ignorant, you just think your body will just keep doing this, what you want it to do. And then an injury teaches you, no, there's a point, there's a breaking point, that you just can't keep that up anymore. And like I said, if I could go for, that's my goal, like to run 5 kilometers without pain, a little jog in the sunshine, I would be I would be on cloud nine,
Mm,
just to have that. Whereas before that would have been nothing. That would have been like, I would take that. I take it for granted. It's a
mm.
waste of time. And now I know if I'd go back to running, I would have more appreciation for that act of just doing it rather than all the pressure of having to be a certain way within it or be good at it or get better or that sort of thing.
So since then, a lot's changed, and you've become very interested in mindfulness, meditation. Yeah. How
Yeah.
did all that begin?
That started when I signed up for a silent retreat during I think it was during winter, and I was just feeling down in the dumps. And I just thought, I just need to learn to be. I can't be right now. I'm just fighting what is now. I'm fighting myself. I'm fighting the situation. I never live in the moment. I'm always thinking even ahead of like when it's going to get better, right, and missing now. And I struggled with meditating on my own or doing that on my own. I've always said when I was running all the time, I'm sure I had some sort of ADHD, like a lot of people say, because I cannot sit still. And if my thoughts are racing, I go for a run, and that's how I exhaust myself. So then I'm too tired to think anymore. So I needed to learn now, well, how do I just sit with this and accept what is? And yeah, I started out with the silent retreat that I went to in the Blue Mountains. It was a 3-day one. I was terrified. Didn't think I was going to do it. How am I going to meditate for that much in a day and be completely silent? It was one of the best moments of my life because I learnt so much from that. And then that started this whole journey of acceptance and like living more in the now, accepting now
Mm.
as much as I can.
And has it helped you cope then with not running?
Yeah. It's made me focus on other things, I think. And a big thing of meditation and mindfulness, more so when you're in a meditation, is separating yourself from an identity you've created. So, sitting in awareness, when you're sitting in awareness, you detach from the thoughts and the identity you've created, like the activities you do, the clothes you wear, the job you do. That's an identity. It's not the real you. So I think just that in itself, in meditating and being
Mm.
mindful, being like that I'm not a runner. I am someone that runs. It's not who I am, and no one's going to think any differently of me because I don't do that activity at the moment. I'm still the person here. So that's been great. And learning to just feel your feelings instead of running to get away from your feelings all the time.
Mm.
Just it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be in a bad mood. And if you let it be, it'll just have its time and then it passes. But I hated any negative feeling. I just wanted to run and feel better and feel happy. Oh, I'm happy Darna all the time. But
Run that
that's
negative
not good.
energy off. Go for a run it
Yeah,
off.
constantly. That's what I said. That was my literal answer every time. I'll go for a
Mm.
run and you'd say that, "Oh, I'm horrible if I don't go for my run." And now I actually realize how negative that belief was because I don't feel that way anymore because of all this, because of the injury, because of the meditation and mindfulness and how I'm changing how I think and changing how I live. I know if I ever went back to running, I wouldn't have that same mindset because I'm okay to not be okay, which is like the slogan everyone says now, but it's you can just feel a bit down. You don't have to fix it. So I think it's, like everything, you say everything happens for a reason. I needed it to happen because I couldn't keep on the way I was because I was exhausted. Whereas now I'm learning to just be, and I don't have to earn the right to have a rest day. I don't have to earn the right to enjoy a nice meal. I just have the nice meal. Or I'm tired from work. I'm going to have a day off and just chill, read a book, maybe watch a movie, potter around the house. I love doing that. Go for a walk on the beach and not think, oh, this is not real exercise because I'm not running and sweating and exhausted. I'm moving my body and it makes you feel good. That's it. So
Mm.
that's been amazing. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't get injured.
It's good at teaching us lessons, injuries.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
lessons in life. We don't see it at the time,
Yeah.
but it
Until
is.
you're out of it.
Yeah. And with some of the exercises you've replaced from running, tell us about that.
Uh, Look, it changes all the time because I can't find that thing that replaces it. There really isn't anything that replaces it. It's like my body's meant to run. So, I ride my bike. Like I said, I do big walks on the beach and I jump in the ocean. I go to the gym here and there, but I really don't love the gym, but I need to do the exercises and all the rest of it to try and get stronger. And I want to get into swimming, but that's the same thing. It's always that, oh, get on your bike, go for a swim. And then there's like this little child inside of you that goes, I don't want to do that. I want to run. I don't feel naturally really good at that stuff, but I just move my body. I think that's the biggest thing. And that's even just helping me in terms of not feeling like I need to exercise because my body needs to be a certain way. I've had to remove myself from that a bit because I'm healing from that. So I might get up and think, oh, I'm going to go to the gym today. And then I'm like, it's a beautiful morning. I'm doing a big walk on the beach. And that's enough. And I ride my bike and I'm on my feet all day at work. Like I'm really active. So I'm glad that I have a job like that because I need to move. I like being active. But like I said, I've tried to do like the spin classes and they're just so loud and the music and the yelling. And I just want to go out into the bush. So I'm more of a nature person, but I just do whatever I feel like. But I'm trying to, this is my new goal at the moment is to try and have that 3 days a week, just go to the gym and just work on my strength. And then whatever else I do, I'll do as long as I'm moving my body.
Yeah. The most important thing is just move at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
It's not that
mindfulness?
deep.
What's that?
Like you always overthink everything, but that's all I think now. As long as I'm moving my body every day and I feel good for doing it, that's enough.
Yeah, that's all that matters. What's
Yeah.
mindfulness taught you?
Mindfulness has taught me to be in the now. Like this is the experience I'm having now. And
This conversation right now we're having.
yeah, it's now. And, it's that you see all these, inspirational quotes about it and you watch little videos and snippets about it or read things about I feel like I'm really kind of getting it now that, when you say that, like that book, all we have is now, it literally the future doesn't exist yet and the past is gone. So I've spent so much of my life being anxious and worrying about what's going to happen, what's going to happen. What about, and then when I'm doing something, when I'd be running back in the day, in my run, I'd be planning, what am I going to do after my run? oh, I want to go home, have a shower, have something to eat. Where am I going to go and eat? Should I go to a cafe somewhere and have a stop? I am here. And that's like my slogan now is me here now. Just, and I find myself being drawn into stories in the past or worrying about the future, even my running, what's going to happen. And then I just snap and go, me here now.
Mm,
You miss here. Right now, I'm fine. And I've got
mm,
everything I need. And that's it. It's really very simple. But I think you read all these things, you're kind of like, what? Yeah, like, easier said than done. But I guess when you do the practices, when you start meditating and you start changing the way you think, and even at work, it gets really chaotic. And I step out on myself and go, calm. Like, I'm here now. You get caught up in your stories and your stress, and I have a tendency now to be able to detach more from my emotions, let them be, but just go, the awareness is here. I'm okay. So that's been a concept I've known about all my life and been really interested in, and I read books, but I feel like now I'm actually, because of what's happened with the injury and everything else, I'm really living it now and like putting it into practice more because I really do get it more. And it's very simple. It's not like a big like, oh wow, like an epiphany. When you understand it, it's so simple. But we make life very complicated.
mm. And I think it's just something we need to practice every day to really get it to sink in. We see all these quotes,
Yeah.
we hear all this stuff, but it's not until you actually practice it that you actually start to get it. And it takes a
Yeah.
long time, I think, to actually get it. Just being in the
Yeah.
now. And it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple because being wired up to always be doing, into
Mm.
that next race,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, run that PB.
Yeah. Constantly.
Can't just do a run. It's gotta be hard. It's gotta be do those efforts
And that was
hard.
my downfall too, always running hard. I think
Mm.
that I felt like every time I'd run, it was like a challenge of like, and then Strava was a downfall for me in a big way.
Sorry, what was
I
that?
Strava was a downfall for
Yeah,
many.
yeah.
It helps a lot of people, but for me, that's when my problem started because it was a comparison thing. Not just other people, which it is because it's a social media platform, really. So it's like Instagram, but for running, but also for myself, because then it would obviously show you from when you've done a run before. I'm 10 minutes slower when I do a trail run. Oh, I'm losing it. I just ran 22 kilometers. But in my head, I started going, oh, that wasn't very good, and then it became I need to go out again and like try and go harder. And it was never, like I said, when I started running, it was fantastic because it's like a beginner's mind. You just go out and you just run and you're like, God, I ran 15Ks. I feel fantastic. I don't care about pace. I don't care about my splits or any of that stuff. But then when you get into the Strava and the data, for me personally, that's when problems started because I think I wasn't listening to my body or being intuitive with what I actually wanted to do on any given day. It was this guilt thing and like, oh, I've got to do more. Yeah,
Mm.
but not like
Uh,
that for everybody. Some people use it really well, but I know
mm,
the way that I think and the way that I am, it didn't help me in a positive way.
yeah, I think Strava has its positives and has its
Mm,
negatives. Depends which way you use it, but and I think life would be the running boom, I don't think would be as it is without Strava
yeah,
now. I think it's I wonder how many if Strava didn't exist and we didn't have a GPS watch to show people, I honestly just wonder if people would still go for that run. Some
yeah,
people would, but yeah, I think I think it can become a real negative thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Running can be positive, Strava can be positive, Facebook can be positive, but it can also
yeah.
be quite
Bad for
negative.
your mental health, I
Yeah.
think sometimes, like they've said, social media for your mental health. And you do that. You compare yourself, and that takes you out of the now. I could be, I've done it sitting at home and I'm perfectly content. I've got everything I need. I'm happy. But then if you go on social media and someone it looks like someone's doing something or exciting or like whatever, or they've got something better, or then it takes you out of your moment and you feel inadequate and you feel like, oh, this isn't enough. Whereas if you didn't have that, you're fine. The same with running. Like you just go for a run. That run was fantastic. But oh
Mm.
no, but look what so and so's done, or it's just I think you just need to be aware of it and you can still use it, same with social media, but just to be aware of, okay, that's not making me feel good right now. I might just step out of that for a while, have a break from it, or just like, you know, take the app off your phone so you can just have a break.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of yeah, a lot of runners are gonna can relate to that one as well. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. And this next question, I think you've already answered, but do you think this journey you've been on has changed you as a person?
big time in a lot of ways, I think. I always say it, I'm like, I don't think, even though I hate that I'm injured, I don't want to be injured. I want to be able to run. I also don't want to go back to who I was. I don't want to be that kind of runner again. I don't want to be that tired and burnt out. I feel much more content in myself. So it's completely changed that I can just be, and I just live. I just do what I want, and there's no reward punishment system I've set up for myself, or, you know, I still have moments where I want to be as fit as I was. I miss being, I was ultra fit and I felt I could do anything, and I didn't even get tired. I was so strong. I would love to have that. But then also there's a price for that. So I don't want to live that way. So I think it's taught me to live more like I'm more authentic to myself, and living a life rather than this constant. It was like I said, the hamster wheel when you're stuck on it and you're like, I can't get off this thing, but
Mm,
I'm so tired. So yeah, I think it's completely changed how I live my life and view everything.
mm. And I guess it's helped you find meaning outside of running.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Do you
And
see?
then I'm not that, like, I'm not the runner, that was just
Yeah.
something I do. It's,
Mm,
I'm a complete person without it.
yeah. All these different roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so you no longer see yourself as a runner now?
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Not yeah.
What does it mean
I'm
for
not.
you being a runner? What does that mean for you now?
I know if I went back to it, I feel like I'm not there yet because I'm mentally, emotionally not even ready to go back to it. Like, I want to run, but I don't want to go in bad habits. So I don't see myself as a runner because I don't think I ever will. I'll just see it as a part of my life that I enjoy doing. But I know if I was able to, if my body just clicked into gear and I would go back to my bad habits. I'm not ready yet. So
Mm,
I want to be in that place where it's a part of my life and I love it. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but it's not my everything. I'm just someone who runs, not a runner, which I know is silly, but it's like the
no.
meaning behind it. When I say I'm a runner, then it's my identity. It becomes who I am. I don't want it to be that way because for me, it became unhealthy.
Mm. What are you hopeful for the future?
I hope that I get to a place where my body and my leg and my ankle is healed, and mentally and emotionally I can get back to running, and that I can go for a beautiful run up Crackneck and back down again and jump in the ocean. And that's literally like the thing I have in my head of being able to do that, no pressure, and I just feel healthy, fit and strong, and that's
Mm,
it. And there's no pressure in doing it. I'm not going to do it thinking, "Oh, I've got to join all these events. I have to enter all these things and accomplish and challenge," and just the joy of feeling good, the injury not being here anymore, and be able, because I love Crackneck so much. I walk it all the time and I miss being able to run up and just fly down that hill and jump in the water when I finish. Just that. That's my goal in time, but not too,
oh,
yeah, I'm not living for it at the same time. But that's where I would love to see myself eventually.
Yeah, you will. You will.
Oh,
What advice would you give someone who has just found out they can't run? They've got an injury.
I guess it is find other parts of yourself that bring you joy. And obviously talk to people that understand. Talking and crying and getting angry and feeling, just let yourself feel. Don't try to find a solution straight away. I think that's the thing. You're like, I need to be fixed. And I felt like I was looking at everybody else, doctors, physios, all the rest of it, which you do need, but I was trying to find the answers in everyone else, when I think you do have an intuition inside of you, what you need, and to not be hard on yourself. I don't it's hard for me to say that because I don't feel at this point like I'm gonna be back, but being positive and going like that's not the be all and end all, and you'll find other things that will give you a sense of meaning, and there's a lesson in it, and that rest, let yourself rest, and there's a lesson in that that you will see eventually, and just being kind to yourself.
Mm.
I think
Uh,
runners are really hard on themselves.
mm.
I think because 'cause we're used to pushing and being like, "Come on," when you're running and you're struggling mentally or whatever, you've got this tough love sort of mentality, and then it just sort of crosses over into your life a lot. You think like, "Come on, pick yourself up," but allow yourself to have some weakness and vulnerability. I can never say that word.
Yes.
Let yourself
Be
feel the
vulnerable.
weakness. Yeah, and feel
So hard, isn't it? What's talking about lessons?